Hello, there was a man who was born into a broken home, with a family so poor that they couldn't even hear the jingling of money. At the age of 14, he had to go to work on construction sites, carrying loads, living through days of having enough food one day and going hungry the next, enduring a life of hardship. Yet, by the age of 36, this struggling young man made a remarkable transformation. From an ordinary person, he skyrocketed to become the owner of a construction company. From that point on, his career soared, quickly entering the ranks of millionaires. However, this legendary entrepreneur could never have dreamed that his life could be turned upside down once more, just because of an ordinary lottery ticket. Imagine if one day you suddenly became rich. How would it be? Your pockets would always be filled with lavish, luxurious money, and the rest of your life would be spent enjoying it. However, the main character in today's story uses his own experience to tell us that being rich may not necessarily be a good thing. Already possessing a multi-million-dollar fortune, he suddenly found himself holding a colossal asset worth billions of dollars due to an unexpected lottery win. Initially, he hoped that all this would elevate his career and family to new heights, but the reality was harsh. That lottery ticket seemed to carry a curse, gradually stripping away everything: his assets, status, fame, and even his family. In the end, in the lonely remainder of his life, he was filled with extreme regret, saying that if he could go back, he would definitely tear that lottery ticket to pieces. So, what exactly happened in that year? Let's turn back the clock to 1952 to delve into this thrilling and tumultuous story. West Virginia lies at the foot of the Appalachian Mountains in the eastern United States, covering an area of over 60,000 km². The state is covered with dense forests and majestic natural landscapes, earning it the nickname Mountain State. In recent years, the state's tourism industry and outdoor activities like hiking have flourished, attracting many visitors, and our story takes place here. The main character in the story, Andrew Jackson, is a well-known figure in Knott County, West Virginia. He is the owner of a reputable local construction company with around 100 employees, specializing in installing drainage systems. With the continuous advancement of his business, the company gradually became a well-known enterprise in the region. By 2002, at the age of 55, Andrew had amassed a fortune of about $17 million, equivalent to about 422 billion VND at current prices, making him a bona fide millionaire. He was often seen wearing an outdated, wide-brimmed black cowboy hat when coming in and out of the company. There were many rumors about this regional magnate. Some guessed that he was from a wealthy family and inherited the family's business, thus gaining his current position. Others said that he was a self-made man with extensive connections, openly running legitimate businesses while secretly engaging in all sorts of activities. There were many rumors about him, but in reality, his background was quite ordinary, just a poor boy from a working-class family. Andrew Jackson was born on October 9, 1947, in Knott County, West Virginia. Both his parents were ordinary laborers, and his family was very poor, often going hungry. He didn't receive much education, but he was very intelligent and quick-witted. He learned quickly and was especially diligent, frequently working part-time jobs to help his family, a well-behaved and hard-working child. At 14, while his peers were still busy playing, Andrew was already toiling on construction sites, being bossed around, doing all sorts of heavy, grueling work. Later, he worked for various construction companies. Wherever he went, he worked very hard and always performed exceptionally, earning the trust and respect of his employers. During his time as an employee, Andrew not only acquired many skills, but also saved up a considerable amount of capital. In 1983, at the age of 36, he decided to start his own business. He established a construction company in Knott County, West Virginia. From that point on, he became a tireless worker, never knowing fatigue. Every day he would wake up at 4:30 a.m. to work, returning home only late at night. He personally handled every task, large and small. Indeed, he woke up earlier than the roosters, slept later than the dogs, and worked harder than the oxen. Though still quite young, not yet 40, he was already balding from the strenuous work. However, heaven does not disappoint those who work hard. Under his management, the company prospered and thrived. Typically, if someone had tens of millions of dollars, they would enjoy a bit of luxury. Yet, Andrew didn't want such luxuries, maintaining his habit of waking up early at 4:30 a.m. He would then go to a convenience store 8 kilometers from his house to have breakfast. Due to the beautiful employee Miranda's personal touch, the bacon and tomato sandwiches were delicious. After finishing his meal, he began his workday. What could he do? He was addicted to that dish. Moreover, he never had to skip a meal. On December 24, 2002, it was a peaceful but extraordinary Christmas Eve for lottery enthusiasts. The reason was that the Powerball jackpot had reached a record level with an extremely attractive prize, and the drawing was to take place the next day. Let me explain a bit more here. Powerball is a type of American lottery with very large prizes. If there is no winner in a drawing, the prize money rolls over to the next drawing and continues like that until someone wins. By December 24th, the prize had reached over $300 million. This was a record amount at that time. Therefore, it garnered a lot of attention. Some gamblers went completely crazy, even going as far as borrowing money to buy lottery tickets, hoping to change their lives in an instant. That day, as usual, Andrew leisurely walked into a convenience store and ordered a sandwich. Seeing a regular customer, the manager suggested that he buy a Powerball ticket. Normally, Andrew wasn't very interested in this game, but hearing about the unexpectedly high prize, he casually spent $100 on tickets chosen by the machine. After buying them, he completely forgot about it. After all, he wasn't in need of money. The probability of winning was nearly 1 in 30,000. So why would it come to him? The next morning, at 5:15, Andrew woke up early and turned on the TV. Just as he was about to watch the news, he was shocked by a piece of information. Someone had won the jackpot, and the winning ticket was purchased at the convenience store he frequented. At this moment, Andrew couldn't stay calm. He hurriedly took out his ticket and checked the numbers on the TV Crew 5, 4/16, 29, 53, 7. All matched perfectly. I won, I hit the jackpot, he shouted excitedly. It felt like a dream. Andrew couldn't believe his eyes. After checking hundreds of times, he finally calmed down and shared the joyful news with his family. Everyone was ecstatic. The next step was to claim the prize. Many countries allowed jackpot winners to claim their rewards anonymously. But at that time, in the US, only a few states allowed this, and West Virginia was not one of them. Therefore, Andrew had to publicly reveal his identity. On December 26th, with his wife, daughter, and granddaughter by his side, Andrew went to the Charleston Lottery Center in West Virginia to claim his prize and participate in a press conference. During the press conference, the Lottery Center spokesperson, Nancy, announced that the prize was up to $314.9 million, roughly 720 billion VND at the current exchange rate. At this point, Andrew had two options. First, to receive the prize in installments over 30 years, which would have a lower tax rate and help prevent wasteful spending. Second, to take a lump sum payment, but after taxes, he would only receive about $170 million. After careful consideration, Andrew chose the second option because he wanted immediate financial freedom. In the end, Andrew's story is a vivid testament to the American dream, going from an ordinary person to a millionaire overnight. However, with such a large sum of money, managing and using it wisely no small challenge. Hopefully, Andrew and his family will have a bright future with this large prize. Therefore, he shall not have the prize money for himself. Andy's granddaughter is the jewel of the family. Her husband passed away early due to illness, and she herself suffered from a vicious cancer. From a young age, Andy had always pampered and cared for her. Brandy was a big fan of a rap singer. Now that she had money, she could finally buy her favorite Mitsubishi to meet her idol. The whole family was dreaming of a bright future. Andy confidently declared that he could handle everything. He solemnly committed to donating 10% of his winnings to a Christian charity in South Asia to help those in need. In the following days, Andy actively fulfilled his promise and started living a prosperous life like a true dream. He did not hesitate to spend $15 million to build a church. Later, he gave the pastor a large gift worth $334,000 and donated $10,000 to the church. To develop the local tourism industry, he even spent money to renovate a nearby racetrack. He also did not forget the poor children. Renovating the baseball field, buying school supplies, building playgrounds for the youth, spending $10,000 on clothes and an additional $64,000 on food aid. There was no aspect in which he was not generous. Additionally, he specifically allocated $1.4 million to establish the Quick Taker Charity Fund to help families in need. He boldly declared, "Anyone with a dream, come to me. Just speak up, and I will certainly help." Andrew's powerful declaration caused a major stir as soon as it was uttered. Requests for help came flooding in like snowfall, filling the office within just a few days. Clearly, people placed a lot of hope in this benefactor. Andrew and his employees spent the entire day opening letters, but after a while, they all fell silent because most people's wishes were laughable. They wanted new houses, luxury cars, gaming consoles, new carpets, and some even wanted wives, with all sorts of bizarre requests. It was almost as if someone would write outright, "Please give me a mountain of gold." Despite the absurdity, Andrew still chose to donate numerous items, vehicles, and money. Particularly, families with sick members received special assistance from him. Consequently, this generous benefactor quickly became a savior in the hearts of many. The media hailed him as a great hero praised by everyone. For a time, Andrew became famous everywhere. Naturally, alongside his charitable projects, his personal life visibly changed as well. Andrew bought Brenda, the pretty clerk at the convenience store, a house worth $123,000 and a brand new Jeep. He also casually wrote her a check for $4,000, saying it was to thank her for selling him the winning lottery ticket. However, this appeared suspicious to outsiders. Some even claimed that Brenda was Andrew's mistress, but the truth remains unknown to us. Andrew rewarded himself with a Lamborghini and drove it around showing off. He often generously threw thousands of dollars in tips from his car window. This type of money throwing became very famous at the time. The townspeople eagerly chased his car to catch the money. Sometimes, Andrew would go to bars to flaunt his wealth. His lavish spending made people shake their heads. One time, in just one night, he threw away $50,000 in tips. Other bars became envious, wishing that Andrew would give them the chance to rain money. Furthermore, he moved his daughter to a more luxurious hospital, bought expensive jewelry for his wife, and purchased a series of luxury cars for his niece. At the same time, he did not forget to expand his company, continuing to develop his career. Everything seemed very fulfilling. It seemed that the lottery winnings had indeed improved Andrew's life. But could this situation last? The answer is no. His excessive generosity quickly turned into a nightmare. Things started to get out of control after his phone number and email address were leaked. Andrew received hundreds, even thousands, of letters asking for help daily. Even more bizarre, many people waited for him at the convenience store he usually visited. One time, while Andrew was talking to Brenda, an aggressive-looking man interrupted, shouting, "I want a job." Andrew politely replied, "All right, come to my office. I will see what I can do for you." The result was that the guy immediately grumbled, "No, I want money right now. You have to give me money." It was unbelievable that such a healthy young man could shamelessly demand money like that. When they didn't get money, they resorted to moral coercion. After many such incidents, Andrew stopped going to the convenience store. But this didn't solve the issue easily. His family was continuously monitored. Some bold individuals came to his house demanding money, claiming to ask, but resembling more like robbers. Some even brought knives to threaten, refusing to leave until their demands were met. This forced Andrew to frequently call the police. As a result, the local police, after hours, practically became his personal bodyguards. But this was not the most serious problem. What truly caused Andrew a headache was his company's business. A series of lawsuits overwhelmed him, exhausting him both physically and mentally. Not knowing who he had offended, many companies took turns suing him for various reasons. Lawyers reported that Andrew had to handle over 400 lawsuits, spending at least $3 million just to deal with these cases. In an interview, when asked why such a thing happened, Andrew said sadly, "Everyone wants to eat without working. Perhaps having money is a crime." Faced with countless troubles, Andrew became increasingly depressed and anxious. Additionally, his health was poor. He had pancreatitis and had to undergo surgery 8 times in 8 years. He thought he had only about 10 years to live, so he no longer wanted to waste time on these matters. Andrew began to avoid everything, drowning himself in alcohol every night and spending money like water. He said, "Wherever I go, people follow me. Even when watching a basketball game, at least 150 people come to ask me for money. I don't know if my life can ever return to normal. I can't stand these things anymore. If anyone wants to fight me, I am ready to fight to the end. I don't care about the consequences." At this time, Andrew had not yet realized that what was happening was just the tip of the iceberg. Compared to the troubles in front of him, what awaited him was truly a tragedy. It could even be said that it was a nightmare from which he could not escape. Eventually, he was shunned by his family and despised by everyone. With the infiltration of money, Andrew had completely lost himself, falling into a life of poverty and degradation. He wore dirty shirts, a tattered old hat, his face wrinkled, and his beard unkempt. He neglected his business, spending every day in bars, throwing money around carelessly. Tens of thousands of dollars disappeared easily just to satisfy his momentary desires. Occasionally, Andrew would buy a new luxury car just for fun. At nightclubs, Andrew would flaunt his wealth nonchalantly, enjoying the feeling of being surrounded by people. The strangest part was that he was very fond of married women, even using money to buy their underwear. These crazy actions disgusted those around him even more. They would even civilly ask him why, with all his wealth, he chose to disturb their lives instead of traveling the world, buying mansions or luxury cars. Regarding these criticisms, Andrew did not care, continuing to throw money around like water, doing whatever he wanted with no one able to stop him. On March 24, 2003, Andrew gambled with 4 female friends at Casino C Tava in Baya. At that time, he had drunk a lot and took advantage of the alcohol to grope and molest a woman there. Casino employees caught him in the act and immediately filed a lawsuit against him. Such a lawsuit took several years to resolve. Andrew did not care about the outcome, thinking it would just result in a fine. He was not afraid of that. Subsequently, he was arrested and fined multiple times for driving under the influence of alcohol. He even verbally abused the police with an extremely arrogant attitude. Some friends sighed, saying that Andrew had completely changed. Initially, when he won the prize, he said, "I am Andrew. I have won a lot of money. Cheer for me." But afterward, he became a completely different person. "I have won all the money. I am richer than God. Do what I say." Clearly, he had become too arrogant and self-satisfied. People used to say, "You reap what you sow," and Andrew was no exception. He was frequently stolen from by thieves. On August 5, 2003, Andrew went to a bar to drink. Perhaps he always felt uncomfortable if he did not show off his wealth. He told many women that in his car, there was a briefcase containing nearly 5,045 in cash, and that the car was parked outside without anyone watching it. Who wouldn't be tempted to hear that? Then suddenly, when he finished drinking and went outside, the car window had been smashed, and the money was gone. When the police asked why he kept so much cash in the car, Andrew arrogantly replied, Because I'm rich. The police gave up. When the owner of the money did not care, the police did not want to get involved either. From that point on, he was frequently robbed. Only a few cases were pursued by the police. By then, Andrew was completely broken. From a generous benefactor, he had turned into a sick, degenerate man addicted to gambling, alcohol, and women, frequently driving drunk, getting into fights, and becoming a person despised by society. Andrew's downfall was met with countless cold stares and mocking words. The charitable donations he once prided himself on now meant nothing. The charity fund he established had to close down in the fall of 2003 due to too many people asking for help. People often say that when a horse falls, it's beaten. Some even sarcastically said that instead of donating money to needy families, Andrew seemed to prefer spending it on strippers. Just 1 year after receiving the award, Andrew candidly shared with an AP reporter that he had spent $45 million, the majority of which was used for charity and real estate investment. At the same time, his company also faced a crisis due to rapid expansion combined with his own negligence and lack of responsibility, causing the company to lose many clients, with problems arising from all sides. In just 1 short year, Andrew's life experienced significant upheaval and dizzyingly rapid changes. Remember when he confidently stated upon receiving the award that he would set an example for the next generation. His downfall was swift. Now, he not only ruined himself, but also affected those around him. Do you remember the beautiful employee at the Baranda convenience store we mentioned earlier? Andrew bought her a Lawan 23,000 apartment and gave her a luxury car. This led many to believe that Baranda had also become wealthy. Relatives and friends of hers flocked to her, asking for money, but in reality, she did not have much money. The result was that friendships turned into enmities. Neighbors also disliked her. Baranda sadly said, "Whenever they see me, they avoid me like the plague. They mock me, saying that the apartment has illicit origins, treating me like an outsider who snuck into a high-class residential area." Additionally, Baranda's boyfriend was involved in a case of sexual assault on minors. This gave everyone more reasons to alienate her. Neighbors even printed flyers saying she had a rapist boyfriend and that her family was disreputable. At this point, Baranda could no longer endure, and she eventually sold the apartment and moved away. She said, "If I had known this situation beforehand, I would have definitely refused that money." Money can expose the worst in people. Another witness is businesswoman Melissa, who partnered with Andrew for a real estate purchase. However, this investment brought her an unexpected threat. One afternoon, when she and her sister just walked into their home, a masked man with 2 guns suddenly rushed out from the kitchen. The robber yelled and demanded, "Give me all the money or I'll shoot." Melissa had just won 25,000 at the casino, so she threw all the money to the robber. Subsequently, police investigations revealed the robber was Jack, the owner of an interior decoration company. Due to business losses, he went to the casino to try his luck and happened to see Melissa and Andrew winning big. He then harbored ill intentions and broke into their house to steal the money. Do you remember the lawsuit against Andrew for sexual assault? Both parties reached a settlement in 2006, of which Andrew had to compensate a sum of money. However, in 2007, Andrew suddenly reneged, claiming he no longer had the money to pay. His assets had been wiped out by burglars on September 11, 2006. Initially, everyone thought Andrew was joking. But later, police investigations verified the truth. The money was withdrawn using 12 different checks from 12 different bank accounts, nearly depleting Andrew's accounts. Although the exact amount lost was not disclosed, it was evident that Andrew suffered significant losses. Additionally, he was sued for owing the $1.5 million in gambling debts at the Seaside Atlantic City Casino. In 2007, Andrew candidly shared with an AP reporter that he had gone bankrupt without a penny to his name and no one willing to help him. He sorrowfully said, "People will only remember me as the crazy lottery winner. I'm not proud of that. I hope people remember that I helped many." He screamed, "Winning the lottery was the worst thing in my life." From a successful businessman, Andrew experienced moments of glory when he won the jackpot to his subsequent downfall. His story evokes sympathy. In reality, over the years, he not only lost his wealth and status, but also the most valuable thing, which is his family. In the end, he had to live with his wife and children leaving him, a broken family. First, there was his beloved niece, Brandy. Right after receiving the award, concerned about security, the family pulled Brandy out of high school to stay home. After all, money was enough for her to live comfortably. Brandy's mother, Ginger, spent millions of dollars renovating the mansion, turning Brandy's room into a fairy tale castle. Andrew regularly gave his niece lots of money and luxury cars. At that time, the little girl was like a spoiled little princess. Many boys around Brandy's age started pursuing her to extort money and expensive gifts to please her. Andrew even paid these boys $1,500 a day to be friends with Brandy. Of course, they agreed happily. For them, it was an easy job that paid well, and they also got to drive luxury cars for leisure. However, among them, there were many ruffians, including street thugs. These individuals led Brandy astray, introducing her to drugs and gradually turning her into an addict. She spent money like water during the day and enjoyed drugs at night, her mind always in a haze. Despite knowing Brandy's condition, Andrew chose to ignore it and continued to pamper her unconditionally. Andrew did not realize that his indulgence had severe consequences. On September 16, 2004, Brandy's 18-year-old boyfriend, Jess, was found dead at Andrew's mansion. The autopsy revealed that the cause of death was an overdose of synthetic drugs, including cocaine. Jess's father was in extreme pain. He had once advised his son not to associate with Brandy. He said that money could make people lose their minds and be unable to distinguish right from wrong. But Jess did not listen and ultimately paid with his life. The grieving father believed that anyone who supplied drugs to Jess should be held accountable before the law, even if it was the granddaughter of a big tycoon. After an investigation, the police arrested two of Brandy's friends, Nasir and Darian, on charges of burglary and theft. Security cameras had recorded them arriving at the mansion during the incident and taking a lot of items. In their interrogation, Nasir and Darian insisted that Brandy had invited them and allowed them to take some things. Darian recounted, When I got to the house, Brandy was using drugs with Jess. Jess was in a disheveled state. Brandy had to leave for something shortly after and told us not to disturb Jess, who she said was sleeping. Both believed it was a setup. They were convinced Brandy knew Jess was dead and had set them up. The court did not disclose many details about the case, but ultimately concluded that Jess died from a drug overdose. The incident's impact did not stop there. Everyone knew that the granddaughter of a lottery jackpot winner was involved in a tragic death, sparking a series of rumors and controversies. Just then, an unexpected event occurred. On December 9, Andrew unexpectedly reported to the police that his granddaughter was missing. Brandy's ex-boyfriend, Brandon, told the police that the last time he saw Brandy was at his house. He had fallen asleep, and when he woke up, Brandy was gone. Strangely, her car was still parked outside. Initially, the police were at a complete loss in their investigation. They speculated that Jess's friends might have kidnapped Brandy for revenge. But after investigating this direction, the police found no leads. Andrew angrily told reporters, "I will find them and throw them all in jail. My granddaughter means everything to me. Do you understand?" On December 20, 2004, there was a new development in the case. The police found Brandy's body at a junkyard near Brandon's house. Her body was wrapped in a plastic bag and severely decomposed. The autopsy showed she had high levels of cocaine and methadone in her system. Brandon gradually became the main suspect. During his interrogation, he claimed that Brandy came to him to use drugs. When he woke up, he found Brandy dead and, fearing the repercussions, disposed of her body near his home. The case was investigated for a long time. Ultimately, her death was concluded as unclear because there were no signs of violence on her body. The police believed she died from a drug overdose, and no one was held criminally responsible. After Brandy's death, Andrew was in utter despair. He screamed in anguish, "They all wanted my money. She was the unluckiest child I knew. No one could be as unfortunate as her. She could have inherited everything from me. Now it's too late." After the death of his granddaughter, Andrew's family also fell apart. On May 27, 2005, his wife, Juho, divorced him. She stated she could no longer endure her husband's erratic temper and infidelity. Additionally, their granddaughter's death completely extinguished her hopes in the marriage. It was truly unfortunate that after 42 years of building a life together, their relationship ended in such pain. On July 5, 2009, Andrew's daughter Ginger passed away after many years battling cancer. She was 42 years old. With the successive departures of his loved ones, Andrew was completely devastated. Eventually, he decided to leave the place filled with painful memories and moved to Berlin County, Virginia. Later, he remarried, but misfortune had not yet left him. Around 7 a.m. on December 2, 2016, Andrew's house suddenly caught fire. By the time the fire department arrived, the flames had engulfed almost the entire house. Fortunately, he was not home at the time, so he escaped death. However, due to not having insurance, he lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in this fire. 4 years later, on June 27, 2020, Andrew took his last breath on his sickbed at the age of 72, closing a life full of turmoil. Reflecting on Andrew's life, It truly was a tragedy that fell from heaven to hell. From a fortunate person, he became a diligent, hardworking man. He was inherently a good person who wanted to help many, but ultimately he became arrogant, decadent, and wasteful. This destroyed his life. People say that money caused him to lose everything, driving him completely mad. Some also believe that the real cause of this tragedy was not the huge monetary reward, but rather aspects of it, such as characters and mistaken judgments about life. He underestimated the terrifying allure of money and could not control his own greed. Wealth is essentially a tool to lead to happiness, but in his hands, it became a weapon of self-destruction. Money is not the curse, his behavior was the true curse. Today's video concludes here, and we look forward to seeing you in future videos.